believers of Christ. Hope you're doing well. So today I'll be taking you guys through Genesis chapter 6 verse 17. And it says, I am going to bring flood waters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens. Every creature that has the breath of life in it, everything on earth will perish. That's the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. So this verse has 7 main teachings or lessons we can take away from it. The first one, God's judgment is certain. God personally declares, even I do bring a flood, emphasizing the certainty and seriousness of his judgment. God always follows through his word. The second teaching, life and breath belong to God. Where is the breath of life reminds us that all living things depend on God. Life is sacred, and God has the authority over it. Yes, all life is sacred on earth. All life is sacred. This is seen in Job chapter 33 verse 4. That's a spoiler, we'll get there. The third teaching, sin brings consequences. The flood was a direct response to widespread corruption and violence. God's justice ensures that persistent sin cannot go unpunished. Yes, God's justice always ensures sin can't go unpunished. God's justice is sufficient and countable. The fifth teaching, God's actions are global in scope. All flesh and everything in the earth shall die, shows that God's judgment affects all creation when sin dominates. God's perspective is universal, not local. Yes, God is a global God. God is global. He's worldwide. That's very powerful, yeah, and very important. God is global. The fifth teaching, warning precedes judgment. God tells Noah about the flood before it happens, giving time to prepare and obey. God always provides opportunity for repentance and obedience, as seen in 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 9. That's a spoiler, we'll get there. The sixth teaching, faithful obedience preserves life. Noah's obedience to God's instructions becomes the means of survival. God protects those who trust and act according to his guidance. The seventh teaching, God's judgment is just and righteous. This is the seventh and final teaching. The destruction of the flood was fair, proportional to human corruption. It was necessary to end all human corruption. God's justice reflects his holiness and moral perfection. We as Christians should take God's warnings seriously. They are not empty words. Yeah, God doesn't just talk for the sake. God's warnings should be taken seriously and instructions. We as Christians should acknowledge God as the giver and sustainer of life. We as Christians should understand that persistent sin has serious consequences. We as Christians should obey God faithfully to be preserved spiritually and practically. We as Christians should prepare in advance when God gives instructions or warnings. We as Christians should trust God's justice even when it seems severe. We as Christians should live with awareness that God's patience has limits, but he provides a way of salvation for the faithful always. So that's all I had for today, guys. Thank you very much, and as usual, God bless.